This was the story about Pure Zerida, which was pretty good actually. It explained her goal to travel through parallel worlds, because in her original world she had lost Matthew, I'm not sure how, and the world had started forgetting about him. And the first of everything was that she too had started to forget about Matthew. So she had this plan. Invent some time-traveling bicycle thing, then shift through other realities, take the mementos from Matthew, from the other worlds, so that she could craft her own Matthew again, something like Frankenstein's monster. But that didn't work. She wasn't happy with the outcome and she had to put it down like a dog. But the different worlds we visited, in which Zerida and Matthew had different roles and different relationships, was very interesting. And the music is great, of course, also. We have PvP. We have the World Arena, which I can almost never participate in because it's open for such a short time. If you miss it, you can't proceed. And the normal arena is open most of the time. Here's my ranking. My battle report. You can make a defense formation where your characters defend you, but I don't have the skills or the knowledge or the characters to effectively defend, so I've just placed them here. I could change the map into something that might give them an advantage, but I think that's already a good map. So as for attack, I can defeat enemies up to 13 or maybe 14,000 points. Everything above that would be very risky. This is easy, and it even gives me 2 of those currencies, so that I can more easily get those rewards down here. Normally it goes like hardest, medium and easier, but that's not how it works, not at all. Because the game might put a very weak character in this class. I suppose it depends on the level of the account and not so much on the strength of his troops. Level 58, level 51. Yes, I think it's just the level of the account, which tells nothing about how strong they are. So in this case, this in the middle is the weakest target, and it works round-based, turn-based. The defender is controlled by the computer in the worst way possible, so they do very stupid things, like wasting their turns. And if you want a real-time battle, you would have to switch to Arena and World Arena. When you do this, the game will search for you players who are online right now, and then they respond like players and not like stupid programs. So, and it's more it's more real life. So you take a turn, then they take a turn. But in this mode, all of your characters go first, and then all of the enemy characters, which gives you a huge benefit. Attack. Of course, one can tell by the numbers and the stats that those here do not pose a threat. Even though as far as health goes, it's not a weak unit, their healer. Ooh. And they have a really strong Matthew. Okay, let's get this started. Go for it. No, it's cherished. Time to shine. I am so proud of this strategy. Now with Pure Zerida I could strike 3 times in a row. Since I haven't taken her, I can only strike twice. Because I would have to replace one of the other characters with Pure Zerida. Like for example, Narn. Narn, not Narn. Narn is a race from Babylon 5. Let's get rid of Council. Of this one, I think he's stronger. $1,000. Pretty impressive. Now we have a few survivors who get whacked. Wind Whisper. That was a stupid attack. The only purpose of this attack is to affect as many enemies as possible with a debuff. Victory points. And the reward for having 4 victory points in total, which is 20 crystals and 2 of the honor cup points, which can be exchanged. Now I could fight more, but 1 battle is enough to demonstrate how PvP works. Which can be exchanged in just a moment. In the store for whatever you want. In my humble opinion, the most important thing in this game are runestones, because heroes have different classes that they can master, but switching from one class to another takes a runestone, and they are really hard to get. Let's say, for example, I would want to upgrade class. To change the class to Swordman. Then I would need a runestone. Currently I have one, but you need one for every character who is supposed to explore other branches. Like here, for example, you start with the default, the small class here, and then you can freely choose one of the other paths, 2 or 3, depending on the character. But however, once you've done this choice, the other 2 are locked behind a runestone. So you are stuck in exploring everything, and then you can just switch to the other branches once you have a free runestone. And Picking the wrong class can ruin your character completely. Like I did this, for example, for Matthew. He was a strong cavalry unit. No, he was a strong this year melee unit. And then I thought I'd learn those skills as well, because you keep the passives, you keep the talents, which you can use on the character, but more importantly, you get the status rewards from mastering the other branch, and then you can, after having mastered it, switch back to whatever you want. Ah, okay, I was right. I had cavalry. This I haven't learned yet. Sorry, my bad, I wasn't focusing on what I actually saw on the screen. Yes, I had him on the bone dino. So he was a fast, hard-hitting unit. And archers, at least my archers, are very weak. They barely scratch the enemy. Unlike the mages, who really get the job done. And some of the saints, when they're fighting monsters, because they're strong against monsters. Good, that pretty much sums up most of the aspects of the game. The only thing I could... Oh yes, there's this also. Territory. In this mode, which feels a little bit like chess, move your characters on this grid around, and you fight those guys, for example, by rolling dice. It's a very different game mode. You can recruit characters and you can learn improvements, better stats from them. As far as the enemies go, there are some conditions that you can meet to weaken them before the battle starts, but they are usually extremely high. Like, it feels like this is an endgame content. If you want to beat them as easily as possible, but I still make my way through, more or less. After battle recovers 5 HP. Then let's send in a second character. There's no need to attack him with only one. Yes. He has this healing every turn. But he ran out of health, so there's nothing to heal from. No, Liffany gets stronger. And I can still spend my 8 moves with something else, like fighting this cavalry general. But that would be a lot of planning and explaining to do, and my voice is not able to continue this much longer. So I will just show Liffany before I finish, because I have her and I want to upgrade her at some point. I haven't tested Liffany in the battle, but she creates a bomb within a radius of 3 blocks, which is a huge radius, and the bomb will, after a while, explode on the enemy for intelligence times 2, which in this case doesn't seem that impressive, but I think because that's just something that happens as a passive ability. You don't have to actively do something for that to happen. So I think that could be a nice extra damage, and especially useful when I fight goblins. Now in my next episode I would like to show some bits of the story, but my voice needs a break now.